guys, welcome back to Miniature Fairy Tales. My name is Carissa and today I'm going to be showing you how to make this gorgeous little writing desk, and this is made from a pattern used on your Cricut cutting machine, which you can cut and then construct yourself. So this is how it starts. We have cut these pieces and removed them from the mat, and now it's a matter of separating them out into like pieces. Now this is Cricut craft board, and what you'll see me do shortly is I'll start to move these pieces to match corresponding labels. So you'll see there's some T pieces and some B pieces, but that'll make more sense to you as you start putting it together. Now, not all of the pieces are labelled, because the ones that make sense, that you'll know what they are, they didn't need labels. So here we are, we have segregated everything out into their groups, and you'll see that the drawers are sitting up the top there for the top set of drawers. You'll see that the actual construction of the base and the top of the desk is sitting to the left, and then I have the legs and a few embellishments and the two top layers of the desk sitting to the right here. You'll also notice at the very top left hand side of your screen are three pieces that you can discard. So these come from the inside of the top layer of the bottom left and right hand drawers and the middle of the bottom middle drawer. They are extra pieces that are cut out when the Cricut's doing its magic. So now I've taken pieces T1 and I have glued them together, and next I have taken these two cross shaped pieces, I call them crosses, they're kind of funny looking crosses I know, and gluing them together. These will form the top side of the cabinet which the legs will stick to. You'll see I use this roller sometimes. It's actually meant for polymer clay, but I use it to help stick my pieces together. And also, if you want to stop warping, you can stick them under a heavy book until they dry. The roller does help. Just use your toothpick to get any excess from the edges, as this will affect your gluing capacity later. You may also notice that the piece I've just grabbed there, labelled bottom, is not in your SVG. The reason for that is because when I was putting this together I realised I didn't need it, and that it was better to be able to access the bottom of the drawers than not. So we have discarded that from the SVG, and it won't be included for you, so please don't think that you've got a piece missing. Onto the legs now. I'm very light with my glue here, and I'm taking extra care to make sure that all of my edges are lined up. We have 6 layers per large leg and 4 layers per small leg, so we really do want to take care and try and line everything up correctly to make sure that it will fit into the allotted slots that it needs to fit into later. The small legs are quite delicate, so do take a little bit of care with these. Once they're laid up in 4, they're quite sturdy, as are the larger legs, but just in this construction process they do need a little bit of care. The next thing that we're going to move on to are these small embellishments for the writing desk. Now you'll see that these are layered, so the back layer represents greenery, the middle layer represents 3 flowers, and the top layer represents 1 flower. So when they are all glued together they give a bit of a 3D effect, which is lovely in the end result. So what we're doing now is we're just gluing all of those pieces into their groups of 3 and then sticking them aside to dry, and we can paint those later. Now moving on to what will be the front of the writing desk. There are two parts here that need to be doubled up, so we're just gluing them together now, taking care that all of the edges match up nicely. And when you put that aside, your legs should be dry now, so it's on to the next layer. So these are now layered in groups of 2, as you know, so now we're going to make an additional layer of 2. So same process before, make sure that everything is carefully lined up. And now onto our drawer fronts. You can see that I have a frame which goes on top of the backing. We're just gluing that down now, and if you need to, use a toothpick to clean away any excess glue around the edges. And then following on from that, there is a smaller matching piece that goes into the center. So just use your eye for this to get it centered. Only needs a drop of glue on the back, and then that's the front of your drawer done. Do that for both drawers, and then move on to the middle bottom drawer. Same thing again, just a frame around the outside of the backing, and use your toothpick to clear away any excess glue, so that later if you wish to paint this piece, the glue will not affect your ability to paint. And now we're going to be doing the same for the smaller cross piece. So this is to form the top of the seat, and this is what the legs will join to. And so there are 2 of those. We need to glue them together, and also the same for these T-shaped pieces. There are larger ones for the writing desk and smaller ones for the seat. So there's also 4 of those which need to be doubled up. So put those together, and so in the end you should end up with 2 T's small and 2 T's large. And now after you've done that, you're leaving that to dry. Our legs should be dry again. So here's the finished product, and this is 6 layers of cardstock together. Now I'm going to show you how to line up your drawers with the drawer fronts to make sure that everything will be able to slide in level and not cut anything off. So what you'll need to do is take the drawer fronts and line the inward facing curves up perfectly with the inward facing curves on the front of the desk, and also line the top up with the top portion of the desk, and this will make sure that these drawers don't sit in the wrong place, sit off center, or bump into any parts that they shouldn't. Now we'll be using our doubled up cross layer, and we'll be gluing the long and short edge, or one long and short edge of each leg, and pushing that into the corner sections of this cross piece. Now you want to make sure that the curves of each leg are facing the outside, so that you don't accidentally glue the wrong leg to the wrong side. And now we're going to move on to our bottom drawer pieces. The left ones are marked DBL, drawer bottom left. So how this works is the side pieces, the long edge of the side pieces is glued to the top edge of the bottom. So you can see here, the way that I do this is I lay the side piece on its back, and I push the bottom edge into that to make it flush with the mat. So again, I've applied a little bit of glue to the top side of the bottom piece. I've laid the side piece flat and bringing that bottom piece in with the side piece, flush with the mat, and I'm using my nails to add some pressure. And the great thing about tacky glue is this takes pretty much straight away, so you can flip it back. It is still fragile, but it's strong enough for you to be able to still move the piece around. while you're doing your gluing. So we've done the same with the right hand piece and with the middle piece. So the right hand pieces are marked DBR, draw bottom right, and the middle pieces are marked DBM, draw bottom middle. So now when it comes to the end piece, this is to be glued on the inside of everything, so it's going on the top side of the bottom piece and the inside of the side pieces. So again, I've glued the 3 outer edges of that back piece, and I've laid it flat, and I've pushed in the rest of the piece so that it'll all be flush at the end against the mat. Here it is again, and the flexibility of tacky glue means you can just separate those side pieces just a little bit in order to get the back piece in so that everything's nice and flush and neat, as you can see here. And once they're dry, we can stick them to our drawer fronts, and we've already drawn out our template of where these drawers will fit into. So you just need to make sure that you match the left side drawer in with the left hand front piece, the right hand side drawer in with the right hand side front piece, and the middle drawer in with the middle piece. Make sure that none of your drawer sides stick above the front of the drawer, because this will create a gap between the front of the drawer and the rest of the writing desk, which we don't want. We're now going to be adding some stability to this desk piece and also the sides by adding in our large T-shapes. So what you want to do is add glue to the front left and right hand side of the T-shape, and also to the inner edge of the bottom of the T-shape. Flip it upside down and stick it into the side of the writing desk. So this will stick into the fronts of the sides of the legs and to the inside of the legs. So as you're pushing this in, also push the legs together to adhere to those inside lines of the T, if that makes sense. And once that's dry, that's going to give you nice stability, and we'll make sure that your legs don't fall off. And now you can see here we're just dry trialing the back piece to make sure that it's going to fit okay, and it does. If you do find this is a little bit snug due to adhesive or anything like that, just shave or sand a little bit off. But in this case it should fit nice and snug. So I lay that down against my mat and I slide in that back piece, and that makes sure that it's flush with the mat, which will also make sure that all of my edges line up. And you'll see here I'm going to do the same with the front piece. So I dry trial it first, and then I add adhesive to the side edges and the top edges, and I glue it in flush against the mat to make sure that all my lines are straight and lined up. Now we're going to move on to the legs of the seat. So we're following the exact same process as what we did with the legs of the writing desk. And so I'm placing the last leg on now, and we'll also be doing the same with the T-shaped pieces in the exact same way. So the construction for the seat and for the actual desk is very, very similar. Now we'll be adding in the side pieces to the seat. Again, the exact same process as adding the front and back onto the writing desk. We're just holding it flush to the mat, gluing the edges, and then making sure that everything lines up nice and straight. And you'll also see here my my very odd way of cleaning my mat is just to rub the glue into it. Well, So you'll see now that I've got the basic construction done, at this point I like to test out my drawers and make sure that things are fitting correctly. If for some reason I've made a mistake with gluing my edges or whatever the case may be, it's at this opportunity that I could recut a piece if I needed to. And now just moving on to the top drawers. Now they are slightly different to the bottom drawers. They are marked with T, so anything with, or anything small shaped with a T on it means it's for the top drawers. So you'll see here TDU means top drawer under, meaning the bottom. TDS means top drawer side. TDB means top drawer back, and TDF is top drawer front. Now again, these are facing the other way, so they're wider than they are longer. The sides get glued onto the top of the bottom as we did with the bottom drawers. But the back piece is different in that it doesn't go on the inside of the sides. It gets glued to the back of everything. So you can glue right round the edges of the sides and the bottom and slip the back piece straight on. And you can see here we've constructed both the left hand and the right hand side. So we'll now be moving on to the base and the back side of the top part of the writing desk, which holds the top drawers. So TU stands for top under and TB stands for top back. So we're gluing the top back to the top side of top under. So similar to what you would do with the drawers, the long edge is going to be glued on the top side of the bottom piece. And with your side pieces, they are going to be glued right onto the end. So they won't sit on the inner edge, they'll sit on the outside edges. And you'll notice also all the drawers only have a single layer, so we don't need a great deal of stability with the drawers, so we're able to get away with doing them in single layer. If we were going to use them for something a little more heavy duty, we might consider giving them a double layer, but in this instance a single layer suited the design best. So you'll also see that I've now got one of the drawers sitting on the inside, and I'm putting the other right hand side end into I guess we'll call it the drawer holder. So I use my drawers just to space out things and make sure that things will fit well as I go. And you'll also see here I am dry sizing up the front of the drawer before I actually glue it on, and same again, it's to be glued to the outside edge of everything. It doesn't sit on the inside. And the other thing is, if it does stick out slightly from the edges, don't worry about this, because it's designed as such that if it does stick out a little bit, it's not going to matter. And those top drawer fronts are marked TDF, in case you were wondering. So you'll see I've just lined up the drawer holder with the top part, just to make sure everything's going to sit nicely, which it is. And now I've placed my drawers back into that drawer holder because I'm using these as a template for the middle intersections. This is going to show me where to put these intersections so that the drawers will fit in nicely. There's no markings for this, we just use the drawers as a template. These parts are marked TML top middle left and TMR top middle right. And then once you've got them in, you can pull the drawers out and leave them to dry. And at this stage you can add some tacky glue to all the top edges of the drawer holder, and then just using your eye, line it up with the top layer, making sure that everything is even and squared and centered, and then stick it down. Now there is a part I missed in the video here where you take parts doubled up T1 and T2 and you stick them together, making sure that T1 is centered onto T2. Now what we're doing here is we're taking both of those parts that have now been glued together and we are sticking the cabinet to the bottom of those. So it's up to you whether you like the shorter piece at the bottom or the top. Myself, I prefer it at the top, so I have glued the top part of the writing desk, flipped it upside down, and just using my eye I'm centering it and making sure that everything is even before I press it down gently and flip it over. Yeah, so you can see there on the left hand side that my T1 and my T2 have been glued together, but I do apologise, I didn't show you that in the video. And now we're taking those lovely little embellishments that we made and we're sticking them to the appropriate parts of the desk. Now for the part that goes onto the front of the desk, I like to put the drawer in first, and that ensures that no part of the embellishment will hinder the drawer coming in and out, because you can see where it's going to sit. So you can put the drawer in, stick the embellishment to the front, and then you can take your drawer out later. So the embellishments in my design are meant for under the middle drawer at the bottom, on the front of the two top drawers, on each side of the writing desk, and on each front and back of the seat. But there are 7 embellishments included, and you can put these wherever you think they look most appropriate on the cabinet. Now obviously you can decorate these in any way that you like. I have decided to go for some pink, green and white paint. So the green I am just adding to the back layer that's sticking out as a bit of greenery, and then I'm adding some dabbed pink onto the flowers in the next level and the top level. And I found with a really fine brush, if I just dabbed, it did give it a little bit of a petal effect, which you can't really pick up here. But using your own artist skills, you can use whatever technique you like here, and you could even make your own embellishments for it if you preferred to. Now I've got the white, and I'm just adding 3 little white dots to the front, and I thought this looked quite cute, so here it is, added on to all pieces of the writing desk, and I love the way it's turned out. So for handles, I decided to use these cute little gold beads. Now handles are not included with the SVG, but you can select whatever you think will bring out the writing desk's best features. Personally, I like these little gold beads, so that's what I'm going to use here today. And I'm going to add these to the bottom left, right and middle drawers, and also to the top drawers on top of the embellishments. You might also notice that the seat's done. So for the cushion, you'll see a piece marked C. Now it's best to cut out a piece of fabric which is about the size of C on all sides, if that makes sense. So use C as a template and cut about the width of C out on all sides. And then all I did was I used a couple of round makeup pads, and I cut them down to size using C as a template. So I used 2 layers, and then I wrapped them up in the fabric that you can see I've used there, and I stuck them to I stuck the fabric around C. So C made the base of my cushion, and then I stuck that to the top of the seat. And again, my video equipment failed me when I was making the seat, so I do apologise that the cushion is not included. But also, the cutting of the fabric is also not included in the SVG, so this is something that you will need to supply yourself. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. That brings us to the end of today's video. So if you enjoyed this, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. It really helps me. And also, I guess, just a special announcement. If you have found this piece on Etsy, this will be no surprise to you, but for everyone else, and at the time of making this video, my store has only just opened on Etsy, so we have one piece on there at the moment, which is this one, hoping to stock plenty more soon. I wish to thank you very much for joining me today. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to message me or leave a comment below. I'm more than happy to help. Thanks. Have a great day. See you next time.